Great to see all of you. So today,
Hi everyone.
hello.
Good evening for there. Good afternoon from here.
Just 1 second. Today we
Local
have a very interesting event. Today
time
we're
1
going
p.m.
to talk about business. We're going to talk about the changes in business in startups, in multinational organizations, and we're going to touch some neuroscience techniques that are aimed to help business nowadays. So I'm going to present you our speakers today. As you see, we start exactly, if we start at 7, we start at 7. And go straight forward. So I would like to present you our speakers. The first one, Kristina Poloyanova, who is customer success manager at Autodesk. Hello, Kristina.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for the invitation and nice to meet everyone on the call.
Great. Thank you a lot for joining us. Then Taran Hughes. What are you? So Taran is a startup consultant.
Hello, guys. Pleasure to join you all on this call this evening.
Thank you, Taran. Then Eduardo Valero, who is an expert in PR and all the educational neuroscience techniques, right? Well,
Yeah.
more or less more in PR, I guess.
Yes,
Right?
PR, marketer also. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for, it's a really pleasure to be here with all of you.
Great.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Then Ruben Carvajal, who is a professor at Neuroscience Business School and is giving classes of neuroscience techniques. Well, I guess the most difficult classes for me, how our brain works, how it's all connected and all this stuff. Hello, Ruben.
Hello, nice to meet you all. Thank you for the invitation, Tatiana.
Thank you a lot, Ruben. José Manuel Ausin, who is an expert also in neuromarketing and sales, but more in digital part of it, right?
Exactly. Yes. Thanks, Tatiana. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, and really happy to be here with you.
Great, thank you a lot. Then our neuromarketing professor, Harzerat Kaur. Harzerat, hello.
Hello, nice to see you all, and it's my pleasure sharing this panel with all the masters. Thank you for the invitation, Tatiana.
Thank you a lot, Harsh. So this one roundtable, a virtual one, actually it doesn't have many rules. I'm going to ask you, some of you, some questions, but you're always free. Like, I mean, all the speakers to ask you questions, to interrupt. The objective is to have an interesting conversation, because all of you work in different parts, in different companies, in charge of different techniques, and I think it's going to be great to share experience, right? So then the participants of the talk, in 40 minutes, more or less 40-50 minutes, you're going to have time to ask your questions to the speakers, okay? Good, so let's start. Kristina, let's start with you. You have a really interesting position in multinational organization. So if you could tell us and explain us how your work basically changed after what happened during these 2 years. What changes did you have in your company?
Sure. I mean, first of all, I'll explain a little bit what I do, because I think when I'm introduced as a customer success manager at Autodesk, many people have question marks in their heads. So I work for a multinational American software company that is really focused on innovation, so such technologies as virtual reality, augmented reality. And in particular, I am in charge of rolling out this kind of technology on construction projects. Actually, during COVID, I mean, there have been some changes for me on the personal side. So previously I used to live in Spain, but I actually relocated to London 3 months ago from Barcelona. So it was a corporate relocation. And that was one of the changes that, for me personally, was a positive change. During the pandemic, I just decided kind of to go with it, despite the fact that there is a lot of instability and uncertainty nowadays. From a business perspective, I think that what we've seen as a big multinational company, And what I've seen in construction industry when it comes to technology is that COVID has made a lot of companies become way more innovative, way faster. So, a lot of companies, especially in construction sector, work in a very traditional way. And it's very hard to implement changes because they are expensive if we talk about large projects, or some companies that are smaller, like small architects or contractors, don't have enough funds sometimes. So they work in the ways that they're used to, that they've been working, like 20 years ago with traditional drawings, for example, for the buildings. But COVID has forced everyone in the industry to work faster and to make changes faster and to be like on the same page when it comes to technology. So because everybody had to move their operations online, in construction as well, there has been a huge shift in how companies think, in how companies work, in the ways that designers collaborate with each other globally, because they couldn't just go to see each other on site or to design or to discuss designs in person. So I think that a lot of companies had to, or were pushed to change processes and ways they work way faster than they were expected to. So instead of waiting for 10 more years, they had to change the way they work in less than 2 years. And of course, it impacted some players in a positive way, meaning that they are now on the same page with the innovation. But whereas smaller players that were unable to keep up had to step out of the game. So I think it was bi-directional.
Okay, I see. And what is innovation for you? Your personal opinion?
For me, to be honest, I don't think there is a term that can define it well. For me, it's a change of the mindset in the first place, because my company Autodesk, we talk a lot about innovation. We roll out lots of different products on a global scale, and those are really cool products that talk about VR, AR, and other things. But then what I see very often, if people are not ready for the change, if their mindset is not ready and their behaviors are not ready, these products mean nothing. So for me, it's a change in the mindset in the first place, and the ability to keep up with these changes. But you have to accept them first on your personal level, and only then, you can really move in line with innovation, with technological advancements.
Okay, I agree here 100%. Because, well, this situation shown a lot, like who is ready to change and who is not. And actually in business, it's like the key point. Okay, thank you a lot, Christina. Please participate in the whole conversation. Ruben, I know that you've prepared some information about the forecasts of business, how business is going to be changed in the future. So could you let us know? If you unmute yourself, would be great.
Okay. Yes. One of the things that called my attention was, the Neuroscience Business School has a motto that it says, welcome to the future, right? And we have a previous talk in Spanish where we were talking about the future of education, remember? And now we are talking the future of business. I think you are really concerned about the future.
I am. Well, because for me,
I think everybody is concerned about the future. Yes,
why I've done that? Because
and that's
why
yes, and that's perfectly normal. Yes, and I would like to take this point to develop my speech. I mean, from the neuroscience point of view, that's perfectly normal. Our brain has evolved exactly to anticipate events. We are always trying to foresee what is coming. And I remember reading about when the TV started in the 1920s, and the radio was invented in 901 or something like that. And in those times when the dishwashers and all these electric devices for the home were invented. And if you travel to in those times to Epcot Center, for instance, remember that all these technologies for home appliances and different kind of technologies were, together with also the motto, the future is here, in those times at the beginning of the previous century. So we are always thinking about the future. That's the first thing that called my attention. And the reason why I think our brain tries to anticipate events is because we are looking always for immediate gratification. And I mean, there are two ways to obtain a reward. One is the immediate gratification, or you can postpone gratification. There is a test called the marshmallow test, in which for
That's my
kids,
favorite
for
one.
instance.
That's my
Yes, exactly.
favorite.
Okay. And, I read once that some academics, some researchers in Harvard once said that if you teach your children to postpone gratification, apparently when they're grown-ups, probably they're going to be better leaders because they're going to have more self-control, etc. I'm not quite sure that that has an evidence, and I mean empirical evidence. But what is for sure is that I would say that the majority of the people prefer instant gratification than postponed gratification. And that's the reason why everything is speeding up. I have this 5G technology now. You have, what else we have? Now we're about to see the quantum computers. So everything is faster every day. And why is that? Why we need so much speed? If you see the trends in the number of patents, for instance, in the United States, from the beginning of last century to today, you see there is a direct relationship between the number of patents and the growing trend of the GDP, the gross domestic product. So technology and business are perfectly interlinked. They are connected because the more the technology advances, the more the business expands also. So that's one of the things I would like to start. I don't want to extend too much, but there are also some implications about the future of business that have to do with the ethics and with also with some values that are important today that the corporations and the small and medium-sized companies have to take care if they want to survive. And during the pandemic, precisely those companies that showed some empathy for their customers and some, solidarity with the people, get more acceptance with their policies.
Okay. Thank you, Ruben. So the second speaker, the second time we hear about the technology and business, the importance of technology. Well, speaking about the Neuroscience Business School and our slogan, "Welcome to the Future," and the name of this one event, "The Future of Business," what I meant is that create your future today. So like we have to stay in today, but it's important what you are doing today. That's what actually we meant, I guess. But it's it's really good you've noted that because I didn't. Me myself I didn't. Thank you,
Okay.
Ruben. José Manuel, let us know, what do you think about this one, 5G and all the technology stuff, and where the business is going? What is going on?
Okay, that's good question. Where the business is going? I think business is going after the needs of the people, like right now. Like for example, like today, a lot of mix between healthy and tech is growing up. People now are really worried about the health, as you know, about the COVID. 19 and how to connect with each other in this remote way. I don't know. The business is going, I think, where the difference. I don't know how to say. I think it's becoming green also. Like people are really getting to worry about the planet and problems. And also, I think I don't know, for the next 5 years approach is going to be like health, communications, and to get more closer. When you mix energy and telecommunications, always is had disruptions. Like you can see, like as you see, 5G, communications, materials, transport. So I think is this kind of trend. So it's change of energy basically and telecommunication.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you. And let us know more what you are doing, because actually what you are doing is really interesting. And I think that is one of the jobs that had an increase in the demand, right?
Yeah, right. What I'm doing right now, yeah, I'm a PhD in neuroscience. So what we are doing is applying neuroscience to business. What we are trying to measure is the activity in the brain, facial coding, eye tracking, galvanic skin response, in order to understand the real answer of the consumers, of the people, once you present one stimuli. So right now we're more focused in digital, as you said before, react in a digital environment like a website. So what we do is like we measure the eye tracking movements, facial recording, and the brain activity, and we understand how we understand a website without talking with the customers. Okay, so we identify the most important parts, what the people, why they look at this part several times, how they feel with this kind of picture, the kind of call to action, this kind of sentimental analysis. So it's what we are doing. We apply technology to business in order to understand better consumer behavior.
Great, great. Third time, you see, technology.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
it's true. You remember before we had this one focus groups, and nowadays like people are trying to understand the consumer needs and what consumer does like, what doesn't in with the help of technologies. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's what you are doing. Well, actually, for me, it's like crazy. You are doing it with website, mobile applications,
Exactly.
and all this stuff. Really interesting.
Exactly.
So you were a lucky one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Taran, could you tell me the changes in the industry of startups? Where are you, Taran? Are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Ah, okay, you're here. Good.
There you go.
Please let us know. So you were working a lot with startups in charge of sales, right? So you are a startup coach.
Yeah, that's right. So it's interesting. It's in the context of the pandemic, because I think it's relevant because it's been so impactful over the last 18 months in terms of business. I work with two types of business. I work with established companies with sales teams that they are looking to enhance their sales performance, and we look at both the technical side of sales, you know, the things that we do, and the way that we look at the influence of our mindset on the outcomes that we encounter. So that's been really interesting. And the other dimension is how I work with founders looking to raise money as well. So how they present their business idea in a pitch and how they effectively pitch for venture capital raises. So how has that been affected, and how's that affecting going forward? Well, from the side of how we interact with investors, which has been really interesting, the traditional method was you would go to an event or you go to an office and you'd pitch in person. The pandemic has changed the way our mobility has been allowed to happen, whether that's locally or internationally. So there's been more emphasis on employing technology to connect those gaps, to bridge those distances. So we're now seeing a consequence of COVID is more pitching taking place in a shorter space of time via things like Zoom. This is a perfect mechanism, but more focus has to be put on the different dimensions of our pitching, because we don't have the same feedback mechanisms at non-verbal communication that you might get in the room. So you have to make allowances for the way that you pitch on the screen. In terms of the way that sales organizations work, their jobs have been disrupted and having to adapt using technology in business because more people are now working from home. So the idea that we have a centralized pool of customers in order to make contact with, especially if part of your sales strategy utilizes telephony, making outbound calls, if you don't know where they're located, it's very hard to make that connection on the telephone. So we're having to be smarter in the way that we connect with our customer or potential customer base. And it's really ushered in a very hybrid outbound strategy of telephony, LinkedIn direct messaging and email, etc. So we're now seeing more video messaging being used, more voice messaging being used, and utilizing platforms like LinkedIn that have now given you the flexibility to leave dedicated messages or video messages to your contacts. That's transforming the way that people do their outbound engagement, because the traditional methods of having phone calls with people and just getting them off the bat is much harder now.
It is. So, today I've seen an interesting interview with Ukrainian entrepreneur, and he wrote one interesting thought, that when he doesn't really like the person, he now prefers to have a short meeting via Zoom, like 15 minutes, because like that he doesn't receive the energy of the person. And when he really likes the person, he prefers to have a coffee outside. So it's like we do see each other, but we still have a distance. We don't have this one, the change of energy. Do you agree here or not?
For me, 100%. I mean, it's very interesting for you to share that, and it's a way of controlling, protecting your own energy as much as controlling the narrative you're having with a sales professional. But I think there is a lot more opportunity to form a connection and genuinely recognize the feedback from what you're sharing in those non-verbal communications that are so important. The way that people's eyes track when you're talking to them, whether they're fiddling with something, whether their attention is, I mean, look, this is a game of attention. Sales and business is all about getting and holding and directing people's attention. Millions are spent in the pursuit of this, and it's evident the way that platforms are created and gamified to draw into people their point of view, because that's where the money is. So if you can control the attention, you can control the finances. So it makes perfect sense that having this desire to spend time in real life is more attractive, if you like, because it's more tangible.
You just said something really interesting. If you can control the attention, you can control the finances, right?
Yeah.
Right?
How does that work? Well, the longer I keep you on platform, the longer I keep in front of you. From a sales perspective, in business, the more airtime I can get with a client or a prospective client, the greater the opportunity for me to not only understand the current situation, the way that their business is impacted by the problem my solution may or may not solve, but it also gives me more time to position how we can help them, how we can align the resources of our solution with their situation to create this image of a future state that is better than today. So attention means that I've got your attention. It means I can understand you better. If you're selling content on a platform, the longer you stay on someone's website, the higher the probability is that they're either in a position to buy sooner rather than later, and they're interested in your content. So attention equates to value.
That's true. Or maybe José Manuel could tell you that someone cannot find the right information.
Exactly. That's totally true. I mean, attention is a new revolution. Yes, true.
could be, you never know, so it's a tricky thing. But Taran, you definitely got our attention right now, and here I agree, especially with calls and especially with meetings. If the client likes to spend time with you, it's more probably that he's going to buy your product.
I'd just add one thing, if I may, as well. What's really interesting is that most of the buyers today have already made up their mind in business to business sales, and this is reflected in research done by Forrester 2017, 2018, I think it was. But most of the business decision makers calling in salespeople have already made their decision. But the company process means that they have to go out to the market to get 3 quotes. So quite often you're actually participating in a sales process where the outcome has already been decided, unless you can add value beyond their perceived value of why you've been brought in. So that's really interesting. 2 out of 3 of the sales engagement opportunities you're working in have already been decided before you even deliver your value.
Okay, good. Thank you. A lot of interesting position. Eduardo, so please let us know, in the PR industry, what changes did you have? Because I think it's really good to go from the attention and from the decision of the customer, what Taran was just telling, to PR, because it's connected.
Exactly. Well, regarding to the new normality, PR, from the perspective of PR and also marketer, okay, is like a phrase when you can say never stop, okay? Into the new normality, PR, marketers' activities, and research, okay, and educational, even health, okay, are the fields, but never stop, never sleep, and need to transformation in every second, okay. By example, now when we are talking about the future of the business, many institutions, okay, or corporate are working on to take in advance about this crisis and truly prepare to face the new normal. For example, Euromonitor is like an institution points out 4 major global challenges in the coming years, even since 2019 to 2030, okay, almost a decade, about automation and new software tools, by example, 4.0. This is amazing big data, artificial intelligence, and predictive analysis, the new reality. These issues are, we can understand and share any concerns about how can we manage from the PR, from the marketer, from the neuromarketer as a science, but this is true. The truth is the innovation never stop, never sleep, and we are working on every time, okay? About, for example, also in Euromonitor says, by example, that high competitiveness force market research companies. This contains a permanent interpretation of about interconnected and real-time data is no longer possible without automation, and we are working about innovation like the best choice for new normality about that, okay? We can say, and also even in spite, we share concerns with about the future, we also can be sure two new challenges are coming for good, okay?
Okay, well, someone for good, and there were a lot of companies that weren't ready for that. Yeah. A lot, it's so nothing. But in the PR industry, what changes did you have, like 1, 2, 3?
Okay, about change now, right now. you say it right now, where PR media now is more driving about digital channels. Media, traditional media, depends on the region. For example, here in emerging countries like Venezuela, Latin America, even Mexico or Argentina, traditional media all working on like the same state of the art, okay? But in spite of the traditional media are working on the same field, okay? Digital media like social media and other of world of the apps, okay, or apps can manage and share the same field, okay, to be monitoring about this kind of issues are working on. Mhm.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. Harzirat, where are you? Are you here, Haris? Great. Great. Please let us know about the new techniques in neuromarketing, neuroscience that were developed during these 2 years in order to help the companies to be more productive and to survive, basically. I guess the word survive here is the correct one.
Yes, indeed. As I would like to add some points, as Ruben stated that the companies have changed the way of marketing. So the companies who have stood up during the tough time, like the COVID time, with their employees, are getting more attention and affection towards the customers. So the companies now changed the strategies. Even they started creating their strategies around the affection and the empathy, because the more the empathetic they are towards the employees or towards their customer, the more attention they grab from their customer point of view as well. So the empathy factor and the emotional factor gets the attention towards the customer, and the attention is the most important thing that we can ever have, and it's the most important and crucial thing in business, and that's the key thing actually, because all we want is attention, and attention, once we have attention, it leads to the business. So, for example, if we talk about PepsiCo during COVID time, I have observed they opened two web shops during that time where the customers can do shopping, and they even offered, like, if they buy for $15, they would deliver at the doorstep of the customers within the same day. So it's like the delivery would be free, and you would receive your favorite snacks during COVID time when everyone was suffering and was having very hard time, and feeling emotionally too down. At that time, if some company is showing you some affection and showing you that they really care for you and they are providing you the convenience, and the comfort, so it adds value to their brand. So it's I think so it's a good example in order to add to the point of Ruben. So that's my example at that point. Moreover, as I am a scientific blend with business studies, so I observe these things that, for example, eye tracking technique and galvanic skin response would be very effective in the business, or also facial coding, because these techniques could be blended with each other and could be used in business because they are not so expensive if we talk about EEG or fMRI. So
Like
these are,
as well, a lot of like small businesses are starting to use eye tracking.
yes, eye tracking, and for example, if we can use galvanic skin response, just like the lie detector machines, they work the same, like their machinery is the same or the way is same. So it's a good, good and inexpensive tool that we can use, because small businesses can also adapt to these technologies and can, use these technologies in business. Moreover, EEG and fMRI are also useful techniques in business, and they are like a bit expensive, so they couldn't be used on the larger samples. So we can try it unless we don't have much resources, we can't try it on n number of people. We can't take larger samples unless we have the budget to, use these machines. So in the future, for the small and medium sized companies, we can use eye tracking machines, eye tracking methods, galvanic skin response methods combined with facial coding. For example, in galvanic skin response, we can measure the arousal, the intensity of the emotions. So if we combine it with the facial coding, we can also know whether what intensity was of happiness, how much happy was the person, so how much sad was the person. So with galvanic skin response, we can measure the intensity of the emotion, and with facial coding, we could know what was the emotion, whether it was happiness, sadness, or fearfulness, or whatever. The application, if we talk about application of these techniques in business, so we can apply them whether we are testing some advertisement. So we can expose, like, let us say if I do an experiment with 3 people, okay, and I expose them with the advertisement, and I'm just testing whether it appeals to them or not. So I can check what kind of brain activity do they have, what kind of skin activity do they have, and I can measure what was the intensity of that emotion, whether they feel happy, what was the intensity of that happiness. So in this way, we can differentiate the different kind of advertisement, and we can check like how it appeals to the people. Yeah. So these are the applications.
Well, that's on the one hand, I understand that it's necessary to use it nowadays. And well, we are neuroscience business school. We explain people how to use these one techniques and machines and everything. On the other hand, when I know that some company is going to measure how happy I am if I'm here or there, I don't really like it. Like, it's like the tricky thing of the balance, I guess. It's what I told about Zoom. It's like on the one hand, it's really good that we can talk now, because some of you are in Barcelona, someone is in London, someone is in Venezuela, and we can all be connected. But on the other hand, it's less personal, like, and we don't share the energy. And the same one thing with these one machines. I know it's really good to use them, but sometimes you feel like no. Thank you a lot, Harzarat. Thank you.
Yes.
Christina, could you tell us, in Autodesk, do you use these one techniques, machines, or something that we've been, do you know or not?
I think, I mean, to be honest with you, I think yes, in quite many areas. So that starts with research and development. Obviously, when Jose was talking about those heat maps, or well, we call them heat maps on the websites, right? So our UX, UI research and development teams, when they are preparing for a product launch and they are doing consumer research, I know that they are tracking, let's say if we're launching a website, or if we are launching a new application for whatever sector it is, I know that they are tracking where, people are kind of from the UI perspective, which buttons they are pressing the most, whether it's easy to navigate through the app or through the website. So that gives the UI team a better idea, or the R&D team a better idea of how to develop the product based on how the consumer is manipulating with the tool. So definitely in that sector, I think it's quite strong. On the other hand, when Harsarat was talking about measuring kind of the happiness of people or their energy or whatever it is. I remember we went on a conference to Las Vegas 2 years ago, and then we didn't know about this. The conference was finished, we all traveled back home to our locations, and then we had the virtual meeting, and they showed us the recording from that conference where we were walking in the corridor of the hotel, and apparently there was a tool that was measuring our sort of our, not our energy, but our levels of our smile, we were smiling. So basically our emotions and how we felt about the conference. And based on that, they sort of made the assumptions of how happy were the employees with the event. And, you know, when we saw this, it was like, wow, that's cool, but it kind of disturbed me. And that's what you were saying, Tatiana, because I think when people are not aware of these things, it feels like somebody is crossing the line. So I think that when we talk about these technologies, I definitely think they're helpful in many sectors because they save a lot of time and resources. But on the other hand, I think that the audience needs to be aware of those tools that are being implemented. So there's a thin line, and companies need to be very careful if they decide to go for these technologies, because it can go in different directions depending on how you communicate the message. So definitely a yes, but as I've said, it can be taken differently if you are not informed about these tools.
That's true. I agree here 100%. Well, that's really strange they told you about it, that they put this kind of...
Yeah, we are the company that develops innovative products. So it's cool to know that we are working with that, but we didn't know that the company was testing the product on us. So, you know, it was like a weird feeling, as you've said.
It is because, well, you remember focus groups, for instance. When you are participating in a focus group, you know that you are participating in a focus group. But nowadays, like, I understand when they make these measurements in the website, like, I don't care. But when it's like too much with emotions and everything, you have to know it. Agree 100%. So the companies shouldn't cross the line with that, or should make special people to make this one kind of tests. Why not? Better, no?
Yeah, I think this is just the level of transparency that we're talking about here that builds the trust between the consumer and the company, or internally in the company. I think what I've seen, at least in our company, is that the level of transparency, the changes in the market and in the world have created this demand for the company, for the employer, to be more transparent with its employees, partially because nobody could connect in person. But on the other hand, it's also harder to build trust when you are in the situation where we are at the moment, because trust is normally built on personal relationships. So I think that the level of transparency has greatly increased in a lot of cases as well.
That's true. Oh, that's true. Taran, do you agree here or not?
Wholeheartedly. I think that, as I said before, when you're on the other end of a screen, there are so many things that you can't make use of that you can when you're in a live setting. I think it's also really interesting to talk about the way in which we're applying this understanding of human buying decisions and what motivates people to buy. I mean, there's many great use cases for this kind of what we might describe as invasive technology, but in retail especially, we're starting to see the implementation of facial recognition embedded into the mirrors, so that the retailer can understand, especially with women's fashion, what women are looking for, their responses to what they try on, so that they can make recommendations for other things that may also appeal to them. So there are a number of ways in this technology is actually being put to great use. The line to which we've been talking of is, when does that investigation become manipulation? Because what we're talking about is marketing and marketing understanding. What makes our customers buy our products is really important to know. But we're now starting to see development in this state hijacking, where people are being put into receptive buying states through the use of imagery, lighting, music, etc., to make them more receptive to a message from a retailer or from a service provider. And there's been some really interesting tech and investigation work done in that. One of the big retailers in the States of 4x4s basically did a big open day in a farmer's field. They flooded it with water. They rolled their four-wheel drives in. They made a big carnival type atmosphere with music and lights, invited all the age demographic that they wanted to attract, and said, here are the keys, go and play. 20, 30 minutes of driving around in the mud in these big four-wheel drives, these guys are loving it. So they're in a heightened receptive state. At the end of that experience, they're funneled through a process where they're shown how easily affordable this product can be. Having had it just placed firmly in their hands, that experience of having fun in the vehicle and then shown how easy it is to purchase, that's a receptive state that they've been placed in order then to present a sales opportunity. So there is some ethics that we have to observe here when we are talking about how we apply our learnings, because to the point, none of us want to feel like we're being sold to. We like to feel that we're being given the best tailored choice, but it's very different from having the manipulation in the background. It's a bit like the Wizard of Oz and the guy behind the curtain. You don't know why you're seeing what you're seeing, except they do, because they know that's what's more likely to make you buy.
Okay, good. Makes sense. Ruben, do you have something to add?
Yes, I agree. There is very important ethical aspects of this new field of the neuromarketing. Usually, there is a combination of devices. We have in our laboratory, we have a portable EEG, we have an eye tracker, and we have a galvanic skin response. And all this goes to a software, and through an algorithm is converted in useful information. That is basically what we want. We can, for instance, with EEG, we can do brain maps, and we can see in real time the reactions of the brain. So there is no possibility of you can fake it, because you can fake some micro expressions, and some people especially if the person knows that it's being recorded. It's the same as a survey or as a focus group. So you tend to respond according what you think your interviewer is expecting from you. So it's a how can I say, it's a bias, okay, that is being introduced during the test. The same may happen with the facial recognition. We are also using this, and we notice that it's not 100% reliable. Galvanic skin response is more reliable. And of course, the most reliable of all of them that are not still so expensive is the EEG. You can find in the market EEGs from $2,500, Bluetooth, and 16 positions, and you can have the frontal, the parietal, and the temporal, lobes, the activity of those lobes. But I think it's very, very important what Christina says, and also I would like to add something on what Arsirat says. One is about it's necessary that there is a consent when you are going to do this kind of things. It's necessary to be a consensual between the two parts. There is a neuroscientist, very famous, very important, who is the leader of a project called the Brain Initiative during the Obama president, which is Rafael Yuste. He's Spanish, and he's moved to the US. Rafael Yuste has what is called the three codes of the neuroethics, because we don't want us, to have a technique that is intrusive and is alienating or is trying to persuade us of things that we don't want to do. First of all, I don't think that just by researching on what is in your mind, you can be persuaded. or you can be convinced of doing things that you don't want to do. Basically, what this research is doing is exploring more accurately what we really want. Something that Taran says about the attention, I agree, I couldn't agree more that the attention is essential, but that attention is the first step of a sequence of steps in which Harserat, I have to see your name every time because it's too long for me, sorry. Harserat says is about the emotions and the empathy, because it's a process, is attention, is emotion, and is retention. Attention, emotion, retention. We can have a better attention if we use emotion. If my narrative is emotional. If I talk plainly like a robot, probably I'm gonna lose your attention. But if I introduce all these ups and downs in my speech, and these ups and downs are made by the right part of my brain, which is the right hemisphere, I'm introducing in my speech some color, some emotional color. And that's important, very, very important for grabbing the attention. And what is the next step for grabbing the attention using emotional and authentic elements? Because you can be unauthentic, because if you are a typical salesman that know, oh, okay, I know now that with emotion I can convince better. Oh, great, I have a new technique for manipulation. No, but you have to be authentic, because we can detect, when the people is not authentic. We as humans have this sense of detecting the intentions of others. That is called the theory of mind. Our brains have evolved through hundreds and millions of years to be what we are now, capable of detecting lies, capable of detecting fakes. So, but the next step, of course, is retention. We want to be remembered in this ocean of so many brands and people competing for grabbing the attention of consumers. We want to get the attention of our brand, of our product, or of a personal brand, whatever. And to jump from there to the intention of purchasing, there is another step. And this thing, and probably Jose Manuel knows it, this is what is called the metrics or the neurometrics. There are at least 7 neurometrics. So the first 3 are the basic neurometrics: attention, emotion, retention. There is also purchasing intent. There is also awareness. There is also novelty. And the combination of these factors is what can be deduced as a purchasing intention. But we as humans don't have the capability in our brains to do that. So we need to, use expert system, artificial intelligence, or an algorithm. And these algorithms are what can help us to understand things, and probably they can infer that there is a possibility of a purchasing intention of my product. So
Interesting.
that's what I wanted to say.
Interesting. Thank you a lot, Ruben. I have a personal question here. Just one second, Harsara, you have a question as well, right?
No, I would like to say to Ruben, you can call me hers. Moreover, I would like to hear
Hers.
it would be
Okay, all
confusing.
right.
Yes,
Okay, hers.
yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to his point here that now today, in today's era, the product-centric market has changed or transformed into customer-centric market. As now the four P's, the traditional four P's of the marketing, like product, place, promotion, has changed into another E's, like product is changed into experience. Now we are not more offering only the product. We have to offer experience, how the people feel about your product. So as I read yesterday, a very beautiful saying. It was like people nowadays do not buy goods or services. They are buying now experiences, the moments of magic, the stories they connect with the brand. So it's about how you are engaging customers with the brand. Nowadays, it is all marketing about. Moreover, the price is not only the consumer is paying to the brand nowadays. It's about the exchange, about what brand is offering to the consumers. Maybe it is in the form of respect, maybe it is in the form of good customer service, maybe some exchange of coupons. So it's a kind of exchange nowadays. So the traditional four P's are changed into the four E's, we can say. And the best combination, the more most of the companies who are successful in applying them, they are using both the strategies. So if we talk about promotion, promotion is changed into evangelism, so which is social media marketing plus word of mouth. So if you are engaging your customers with you emotionally, they would, of course, they would talk about great experiences. So the more great experience would be, the more great sayings about your brand. And we often believe when our family or our friends talk about things, and we believe on that, and we intend to use those product or services more often, because it gives us a trust or a confidence about the product or service. So yes, indeed, I agree with this point that experience is all what matters nowadays. It's like how we are experiencing about the things. Yeah.
That's true. Harzaran, I have a question. Well, it's a kind of a personal question.
Yes.
Um, so we are Neuroscience Business School, and we've started with programs in neuromarketing, neurosales, and what is the third one? Neuro leadership. I'm sorry. So, and then we increased the range of the products. Now we have international marketing, finance, sport. Like the range is a huge one. So I call them like normal programs for normal people. Let's say it like that. But as we are Neuroscience Business School and we do add neuroscience to all the programs, we do have these techniques in all programs. Doesn't matter whether it's sport, luxury, whatever, because you have to make these kind of investigations. I call them personally like new techniques in business or useful techniques in business. So when we've started to do the research about the programs nowadays, about the programs in neuroscience, we've seen in the internet neurofinance, neurocoaching, neuroeconomics, Is it a trend or not? That's why I thought could be we're going to have just economics and then neuroscience. Like let's divide it somehow. Should it be like that or no? Is it a trend to be like that? Is it a common sense or what is it? It's like it's a personal question because I'm curious how people persuade neuroscience in general. Is it scary or not?
Um, Actually, it's about how we are applying the cognitive skills into business. So, moreover, there is another study which is called neurostatistics, which I came across few days back, and I have like few experience with the quantitative business methods, and it was really very interesting for me, like neurostatistics, where we will figure it out what quantitative methods we can use in the neuroscientific techniques. Like there are many kinds of quantitative business methods that we use in order to know about the variance and other quantitative business techniques. So there is another term like neurostatistics, like the statistical methods that we use in order to figure out the research or the experiments being done in the neuroscience. So according to my perspective, when people say neuroeconomics, so maybe it's the application of economical methods with the blend of neuroscience. Moreover, the application should be like effective, and it should be transparent. Like transparency is the biggest thing. So we should not persuade saying neuroscience with everything. It should be the proper application. It should be really worth saying and worth applicable, you can say. So and
And
before choosing anything, yes, the proper research should be done. Like for the students also, when they are choosing a particular course for them, they should research what they are looking for. Yeah. So being a company also, we have to provide the transparency, and we are doing great, I must say.
I hope so. By now the students are happy, but we are the ones who call geography, not neurogeography or whatever.
True, true.
Let's call it how it is in reality.
I totally agree with hers. I think that in this case, Tatiana, it's more the use cases that you're talking about, the scenarios and the different industries where you apply neuroscience rather than neuro and then you add the industry or you add something else. So I think it's all about the end use case, the industry, and the specifics of the job or function that you're talking about that you should be focusing on in general or as a school as well.
Could be as well, but I was analyzing like the other one programs or what people call as neuroscience, and it wasn't exactly what Hars was talking about. That's why I was like, no, it's not neuroscience. Neuroscience, it's like when you really apply it to the research or whatever. But when it's just like normal finance, that's why I thought like, is it just a trend when you add this one neuro and then you are like a new one? And I thought like, no, we're not going to do it like that. No, it's not, because on the one hand we had one problem that people were scared of neuroscience because they thought that it's like too scientific, or if I'm working in business I don't really need it. And on the other hand, it was like really trendy, so we were like where to find a balance. Like actually in life what you need to have is a balance, where I actually use it, where not. Well, that's why we have this one team of professors that guide us a lot.
I noticed the change, Tatiana, because you started as neuroscience business school. That's your brand, and this you probably know this guy, Simon Sinek, the Golden Circle and all that. And started with the why and the what and the how. Well, he said that the successful companies start with the why, answering that question. What is basically what responds to your motivation? What you as an entrepreneur, what was your motivation? I would ask you, what is your why for giving that name? Because that is your brand that defines what you are going to do next. I noticed that you expanded your offer recently, what entered the page, and now you're offering all different kind of what I say traditional marketing, and probably you have a reason for that. I respect that, because you want to expand your offer and not be so close to a kind of a niche that is too small. But the sense that the neuroscience is difficult, or the sense that the neuroscience can, instead of attracting, can produce some avoidance of the prospects, I think it's something that should be worked out, because is, in my point of view, it's all the opposite. I mean, neuroscience uh, can give people a new perspective of their lives, of their work, of how they face what they are doing. And but I think that title, I mean, Neuroscience Business School, is original, is unique, and have it has a very good catch. In my point of view, has a very good catch. because nobody else has it. If you see, all of them are business school, etc., but yours is neuroscience business school. And my suggestions is to reinforce what makes you different to the other. And not try, I know it's my point of view.
That's true, and that's what we're doing in all the programs. Like, for instance, if you see there, I'm really sorry for all the participants. I really didn't want to talk about the school.
No, but this is marketing also. You are marketing your
yeah, I know,
your school.
We can talk about it and then privately. No, we're different. Just the last one phrase, and then we continue with you, Ruben, like, I guess personally about it. But we do add neuroscience to all the programs. That's what I told. Doesn't matter whether it's fashion or whether it's sport management, or doesn't matter whether it's luxury. So we do add these techniques to all the programs, and that's what makes us different from all the business.
Okay.
That's
great.
But we didn't really want to be that scientific. That's why we've extended the program.
Okay.
Proposed.
Okay.
Good.
Should I add one thing here? Actually, neuroscience is included in everything, because according to my point of view, whenever we make any buying decision, or whatever we think, if it is about, we are thinking about buying something or taking any decision in our life, it is connected with our brain, right? So brain is the power, like the CPU of our body. So everything is related with the brain, and brain is linked with the heart. So brain is linked with the emotions. So I think so in every kind of aspect of business or in our personal life, brain is the supreme power. So neuroscience is something, is a study which studies about the cognitive behavior of the brain, how brain behaves, and it's a study about that. So I think so, like neuroscience in business is indeed like application of brain in business, or it is everywhere around us, like we are using brain in everything, right? So it's like it's normal, it should not be like, if I am a student, I should not feel like it's something very very scientific. It's like we are studying this field into business, and we are using brain every day. So I think so, I feel like this, according to my perspective, like we use brain in everything. So it is from that point of view, I think.
Guys,
In addition,
how proud I am right now for our team of professors, how they protect what we are doing. That's really great.
In addition,
amazing.
In addition to all these comments and suggestions, in my opinion, I think that the storytelling from the PR perspective is a good choice to develop, okay, the powerful about the neuroscience, okay, in the media and perception for everyone, okay? Storytelling says and connect the brain and the heart, okay, from the best to get the best perception about the media consumer, okay, and also maybe a future customer for this MBS future students, okay, or growing about your business in neuroscience. I think this is a good choice, it's a valid choice, it's a free choice also, because in PR, the media relationship, the PR media, the media needs more storytelling to cover all the contents about to the readers, okay, or all the consumers for media in digital or traditional media, okay? And please take this in mind. The storytelling as a result is a very good key factor about success for the neuroscience, maybe. All right.
That's true. I agree here 100%. Well, Taran can tell us a lot about storytelling, I guess.
Right? Yeah, we encourage it totally in the delivery of the pitch deck, especially when raising funds. Data doesn't communicate in the way that stories do. It doesn't evoke emotion, and we know that if we've been using storytelling since we were living in caves and painting on walls, right? It's fundamental to getting people to buy in. So we always say that it's important to have a story that knits everything together. And to the point that was shared before by Ruben, it's that we've developed this internal bullshit detector. We know when we're not getting the congruency of words, thoughts, and actions. So when we talk about storytelling, it has to be a personal story where you're related to it. So without storytelling, we are missing so much of our opportunity to connect with our audience.
That's true. José Manuel, do you have something to add? And then I'll sum up the talk and we'll finish, I guess.
Oh no, I like everything I heard. Like as you said, like day by day, the second by second, what we use is the brain. So it's nice to measure it. The only thing is today is quite still difficult. It means all these signals of these EEG metrics. Some of the EEG devices, we don't know how the metrics, what they mean, how to understand it, how to interpret it. So I think yes, is the best way. The people, the emotions, as you say, like the emotion is the motivation in order to take an action. So yes, I don't know. I just say that I like what I heard, and totally I push people. I try to say day by day to if you know how to understand the brain, the engine motor in a car. If you know how it works, you know how it drive better. Not to go in automatic. So I don't know. Pleasure for me to share all this roundtable.
Thank you a lot. So to sum up, the topic was the company of the future. I propose you to change it, the company of today, or the new trends of the companies of today. I think it's better. We'll try not to use the word future.
No, why not?
Yeah, I understand, but it makes sense what you said, because we have to create our future today. That's the message we wanted to give. So we've started with that the companies have to be focused on the technologies. They don't have to be scared, and they have to be ready to make changes. They have to be ready to adapt. It's really important. Then we've mentioned that it's really important to make our clients to trust us, to create this one trust, to have the attention of the client, and to provoke emotions. So this one change of emotions, it's really good. So we really need to focus on this one balance. That I guess it's a difficult one. It's always difficult to have a balance between the technologies and between emotions, between personal contact, between trust and ethics, like whether we can use these neuroscience techniques or any kind of techniques here or not, whether it's a correct one thing or not. So nowadays, like when we have this one epoch of digitalization, when everything is developing that fast, it's really important still to say personal, because we are all human beings. And I really like this one connection that you've meant between brain and heart. So these are the keys for the companies could be nowadays, right? Everyone agrees with me. So thank you a lot, everyone, for participation. You have all our contact details in the chat if you have any questions further on, because I know some of you have to leave. So you can if you want. Thank you a lot for participating. It was really interesting to listen to all your opinions. Really, thank you a lot. All participants, if you have any questions, you can ask them now. And
thank you very much, guys.
Leave. Thank you a lot, Taran.
Thanks a lot,
my pleasure. See you soon.
Pleasure. Have a good night there.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Eduardo. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Pleasure sharing screen with you. Bye.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.